I grew up in a little red house along a river, and we had many different gardens. But in the center of the yard was the vegetable garden, and during the harvest season, it felt like the center of the earth. And since then, I've made a couple gardens, but they were thrown together on a whim and not ideal. The first one was at my old office in a small mill town, where we had a few beds and set up a small greenhouse, and first fell in love with the whole process. And after that was at my off-grid cabin, where there's limited sunlight and resources, but we still put together a special little place that gave us a small bounty and had us dreaming of endless possibilities once we had more space and better light. And then last spring, we bought a partly dilapidated and foreclosed upon A-frame out in the country and moved to the hills full-time. There were endless things to fix and repair at the house before we could move on to fun projects. And while there's still plenty left, we knew we wanted to prioritize growing as much of our own food as possible this year. And so the buds were just starting to show. Our new kitten Harper was getting adjusted to life out here.
You really stink. You really stink. You're a stinky kitty.
And some days, it was still cold enough for a fire in the wood stove. I got some new implements for the tractor to help tackle all the upcoming projects, as every piece to the puzzle was going to make life easier out here in the country.
We're building our garden. We're gonna put it right here, basically. For the most part, this area gets sunlight for at least 6 hours of the day, possibly more. I think we're going with a 20 by 30 design. We're gonna have to move this high area here, push it down over here to where it's low, try and make a level rectangle. First, I wanna clear up all this old wood over here, and there's a bunch of old 4x4 posts. I want to clean up all around the shed, have this whole area be nice. It's going to take some digging and some moving around, and then we got to buy a bunch of lumber because we got to have a really high fence for deer. First order of business, let's get it cleaned up.
There was a lot of trash and old materials scattered around this property when we bought it. And while it was a lot to deal with all at once, we were chipping away at it and slowly cleaning it up. After we finished cleaning around the shed, Allie had to take care of some other things, and so I moved on to finish organizing my wood pile in preparation of the upcoming driveway renovations. And with that clean, I could finish leveling out my utility area and eventually build a pole barn. Harper.
He's gonna eat her food and she's gonna
A good compromise now.
And little Harper was learning the ropes quick, and we were falling deeply in love with her. And out the window, the mayfly hatches were beginning, which meant dry fly fishing wasn't far off.
But she's learned her lesson, so she's playing it safe.
We had been talking and planning for the garden for about a year now, but there were still a few more small things to take care of and move around before getting into the brunt of the build. I was continuing to organize my tools and clean out my shed and parking areas, as I was simultaneously planning for this huge driveway project and our chicken coop build. And in the middle of all this, my brother Simon came home from out west, and we got together with close friends for good food and conversation.
Physically sick of the idea.
And with the final stages of planning done, it was off to get almost everything we'd need to make this dream garden happen. Well, it looks like we've got some good stretches of days ahead where we can make some really good progress on this garden. So we're gonna have to be working long days, waking up early, getting to bed early, getting good sleep, because it's a lot of work and you really can't do it without good sleep. So I've got my companion Beam Dream Powder. Dream Powder is essentially a luxurious nighttime sleep blend. It's like a hot chocolate that you drink before bed. It helps you fall asleep fast and sleep all through the night. I've tried a lot of different sleep aids, and what I really love about Beam is that you wake up with zero grogginess. One of my favorite feelings in the world is to wake up refreshed. It's only about 15 calories, doesn't have any added sugar, and it's jam-packed with high-quality ingredients. You're talking multiple different ingredients that support different stages of the sleep cycle. It's not just a one-trick pony. They make some with CBD, some without. It's a really easy routine, and it's fun. You look forward to it at the end of the day. After dinner, you have your cup of Beam. It tastes absolutely delicious, and and you start to drift away. So many people, myself included, have struggled with sleep at some point in their life. And if you have it chronically, it can really affect your life. You owe it to yourself to give Beam a try. Their website's really easy to use. They have a ton of different flavors. They have all kinds of stuff. And overall, Beam just makes getting good sleep easy. Just 1 scoop of Beam Dream Powder is clinically shown to help you fall asleep faster, sleep through the night, and wake up refreshed. So click the link below or scan the QR code and use code Trout and Coffee to get an additional 15% off at checkout with my exclusive discount. So thank you to Beam for sponsoring this video and for continually supporting this channel. And now back to the story. I wanted to put the chicken coop in the compost area right behind the garden, so everything would work together seamlessly. So while we built the garden, I slowly began clearing out an area for those 2 things, and already our yard was feeling much bigger. And I rented a small, fast, and strong little machine to help with all the work ahead. There were a few more small trees to clear in order to make way for the chicken coop and allow more light to the garden, and so we saved the good trunks for future use and set the brush in the pile.
I set it in and it rolled up and it had this one thing that perfectly came up and hit me right in the face.
No.
2 thumbs down.
Cut that off, by the way. And then watch out, because this baby
Hold on then, don't do anything yet.
This baby coming down.
Don't do anything yet.
Oh wait, let me move your little pile first, because it's gonna land right on top of it.
You should get that fire going.
And with our rough area marked, we began creating a pad with a slight tilt towards a future drainage ditch.
Seconds to a minute for the engine. Throttle. Push that up a little bit. There you go. All of it there. Now you got it. Put your blade down.
And our friends Jared and Greer stopped by with their new baby, and we showed them Harper and explained to them the whole garden vision.
At that rate, then we're getting it.
And by the end of the night, the owls told us it was time to turn in, and we had a decent little pad that we could work off. They're looking at us right now, I guarantee it.
When I was out there today, you should have heard the chain reaction. One flew by, then another flew by, then I go 100 feet down, and then they all start communicating, and there's so many of them.
Boo, no!
No. Harper! Literally, what was that?
And so we kept on measuring and fine-tuning, and all the while, the yard was really starting to bloom. And Harper was having some gunky eyes, so we took her to the vet right away and stopped by the farm to check out the available compost on the way. We got Harper some antibiotics and got home and went back to work on setting our posts. And one wet night, we made tacos with the gang at our house. And it had me dreaming about summer get-togethers with the finished garden and the backyard patio.
Songs just like prayers, like gospel hymns that you call to hear. Come down, sweet reverence, unto my simple house and ring and rain. It's like if you move the upper two fingers of C up one, and that's the, and then to C. Stomach churns, chemicals and caffeine, solid bathing in the coop. I don't really know many other songs. I don't really know. What are the chords in that? So you anchor.
He just has a farm and he does the CSAs.
Gregory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He has a CSA?
That he runs in Boulder, yeah.
And by now, the first leaves were unfolding, and the forest was beginning to green up. We woke early and got to work all day long, day after day. It was a lot of work to film the whole process on top of just physically building it, but it was a beautiful break from the computer screen, and I felt happy being covered in dirt and sweat at the end of each day. And we took breaks for water and went inside to check on Harper, and everything was flowing good and smooth until one morning. The new kitty, Harper, had been doing really well. She was definitely on the smaller side when we first got her for her age, but she was eating like crazy, super active. She was very athletic, could jump and climb, learned to go up and down the stairs in like a day. She's just so happy and doing very, very well. And then she started to get gunk in her eyes, and we took her to the vet right away, and he said, it's probably an upper respiratory infection. These are common in little kittens. And we got her antibiotics, and then a couple days later, she just was really doing bad and very lethargic, and her eyes were really gunked up, and we brought her into the vet, and he said that this was an emergency. She either had like a life-threatening disease or could possibly need surgery. Apparently there's a thing that can happen where their intestines collapse in on themselves or something, like they get stuck together inside of each other. And the only way to fix it is surgery. And he said that her intestines didn't feel right, and and that was a possibility. The vet's like over an hour away, and so we spent a lot of time driving back and forth trying to figure that out. And then he suggested we go way over in New York to a 24-hour emergency vet. So we brought her there last night, and she stayed overnight, and we're waiting to hear back about what they find. They were going to give her an ultrasound, and then they just wanted to stabilize her, get her rehydrated, give her all the fluids she needs, and do blood work. It looks like Mowgli might be a little sick too. And then Allie and I both have colds. Life can really hit you all at once sometimes. It's really scary. I mean, I know we've only known this little kitten for like 2 weeks or whatever, but been looking at her picture for months now, just daydreaming about getting her back here and making her part of the family. And after meeting her, she was better than we even expected. Her personality, she's just electric. It's just gut-wrenching because the surgery's insanely expensive, and it's just like, how do you deal with that? Because I'm sure you guys out there have dealt with this, where it's like, how much is too much? It's a really odd position to be put in, and it really hurts. So we're waiting to hear back from the vet now. Curious to see what they say, and I just hope so much that we can save Harper. We would have gone crazy waiting around without the garden to take our mind off things. We cried a lot, and we talked about how cathartic it was to build our dream garden from scratch in the peak bloom of spring, and the juxtaposition of doing it while being faced with losing Harper.
All right, Allie, I'm just gonna have you hang up. I'm gonna have her call.
One day we would be lying in bed with her saying, "You scared us to death. It was just money."
We were on the phone all day back and forth with the vet, and they confirmed she had an intestinal intussusception that required surgery. And if we were to go through with the surgery to save her, we better do it today, as she's only going to get weaker. She was already so thin that her chances of surviving the surgery weren't great. And so we talked about it back and forth, and we called the breeder, who was no help, and we went over all our options.
Dig the ground a little bit. Yeah. But then the spring.
And just before the surgeon went home that day, we called back. This has been absolutely wild. A couple days. We ended up telling them to go forward with the surgery on Harper, the little kitten, and she made it through. And then she also made it through the night, and she's recovering. And we weren't really getting any help from the breeder. They wanted us to bring her back to Brooklyn, which would have been too much for her. She was on an IV. And so as of now, she made it, and she's in recovery.
Yeah.
And
They said no news was good news, and we didn't get a phone call this morning yet.
yeah, she's a strong little lady. So she's got a couple more days in there being monitored, and we'll see how she does it. Nerve-wracking, crazy.
No, come this way.
It won't be long till Mao is on the top railing.
This is pretty cool, isn't it, Mal? It's like a play structure for a taunt. Well, we're gonna put a solar-powered owl somewhere on the corner.
We already got plenty of real ones.
That's actually true.
I would like to. It'd be cool to get like a real looking one instead of like the cheap. I'm buying a taxidermy owl.
Dude,
The point is that its head turns to look alive. I mean, it can switch its position like once every few days.
Wouldn't be able to cut some off. Start pulling it. See.
Yeah. We gotta get those snowmobiles off the ground.
And run them.
Yeah, they need to be run any day now.
Did you put the tape in them?
Mm-hmm. Well, I put one of those bags stuffed into each muffler, so that should be enough to...
Aren't those a bunch of flies?
All right, dude. Commentary.
You're experiencing flies in your neighborhood.
Call John Hopkins.
1-800-LucidLavender.com.
And while we eagerly waited for phone calls from the vet, we went and voted in our small town election and kept onward with the garden while we had good weather.
Lucy. Hey, Pops. Look at these guys.
Not afraid one bit.
He's gonna go chase them now.
Did you get spooked by Mowgli?
It came up so hot and mounted. He just didn't.
And he just walked right to... Look at him. He's staring right down.
Impregnating
That's true.
dogs.
That's true. They're usually controlled by their owners.
Yeah.
Dude, seriously?
What? I didn't do it. Let's watch it back. Instant replay.
And we started collecting the rest of the pieces to the puzzle while we finished the final monotonous task of building the raised beds.
What do you think, Mal? Are they any good?
Did you just get that?
Yeah, started this project, there was no green. And you tried to tell me you didn't know how to get here.
If anybody knows, it's me, huh?
And also aware of someone else who's going through growth. Like she's still growing up.
And on a rainy off day, my good friend Mitch stopped by to have a look at the electrical situation, as we were hoping to install a transfer switch soon.
There was one, yeah. But I want to eliminate that whole circuit.
And I helped Allie pack up a bunch of her handmade goods from her Etsy shop after she got an influx of orders while we were busy with the garden build. And if you're ever interested in trying her products, her link is always in the video description.
Open the thing.
Harper. Hey, mister.
Her whole face is covered in food.
Jade.
Harper. Oh, come all the way up.
Hey,
Take
little
it
baby.
easy, little baby. Take it easy.
Hey, Blue.
Oh,
Hey, sweet.
doing a good job having some breakfast.
You had to be in the jailhouse for just a little while. Just so you could heal.
Harper is back home. Kind of a surreal turn of events, and the last couple days in general were just pretty wild. But she survived the surgery. She recovered very, very well at the vets, and now she's here. She's eating well. She's pooping well. She's got a huge incision on her belly, and so she just needs to rest. Everyone in the house was sick, but we're on the upswing. Allie and I are feeling a lot better. We're still monitoring Mowgli. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with him. But he's still himself. He's just got a cough. Feels so good to have Harper home, and I cannot believe she was strong enough to get through that. She really is a special little girl. So today, it's a beautiful day out here. Got a lot of bugs right here. I don't know if you can see them. But as long as the last night's rain wasn't too much, it could be a good day for fishing. But we're gonna keep going on the beds. We've got 3 more beds to build. We've got to go get some more soil. And I want to get some stone for the drainage ditch. So hopefully we get all that done today.
And then we'll have a nice garden.
And then the garden will be
And
done.
A nice family. And a nice spring season.
Yeah. Here goes nothing. And we used up some sourdough pizza we didn't get to cook with Simon, as the Harper emergency room visit happened on an evening that we had planned a pizza party send-off before he went back out west. It was a surreal feeling to be acquiring all the materials and doing all the work ourselves, and a culmination of all the teaching and experiences I've had from my friends over the years. I never used to know much about any of this stuff, and now it's my favorite kind of work. Most of what I build is usually scrappy and a little out of square, but I'm learning as I go. we had a few small things to build and a lot of final touches left, we were pretty much complete. And what started as an empty, overgrown yard was now our dream garden. And from here on out, it would feed our souls.